Hello and welcome to another live stream here and podcast. So this is a live stream video edition for members on the YouTube channel, Fretprints, youtube.com/Fretprints. So today we're going to talk about harmonizing melody notes and what we need to know in order to do that. So hoping I don't have any technical issues today, but that is certainly a possibility, but see how this goes. All right, so what do we need to know in order to harmonize melody? So we need to get a handle on basically a moment in time and sort of an intersection between what's happening in the melody and what's happening in the harmony or the chords, basically. So let's say that we have, get some volume here. All right, so what we need to know is how a melody note relates to a harmony. So we're gonna work with the melody for Nuage a little bit in order to kind of achieve this. Okay, so we have this whole part here, right? Okay, so that's a landing point where we can really think about how that note relates to a chord. Okay, so we have this B flat. Right, and then okay, so let's take a look at some of those moments. So the chord progression, we have B flat. Now the melody is here. It's the fifth of that chord. And then that's really gonna ring over and it becomes the ninth of the E flat 7 chord. And then we have that note descends by a half step. Okay, and then we get the E flat on an A minor, so that's the flat 5, so that spells out the chord. A minor 7, flat 5. We change our chord, and the E flat becomes the flat 9 of the D7. Okay, and then just for a moment, we have the root of the D7, and that becomes the fifth of the G. She could play a G major 7 or G6. All right, so that's the basic idea of that, and we have this kind of descending chromatic melody, right? So that gives us something fairly stable to kind of work with as we work through those melody notes. So notice a lot of fifths and ninths for that. Okay. Now, with this kind of knowledge, you can create, a simple chord melody to play. And come up with a kind of a basic arrangement and decide, what kinds of things you can do there. All right. So then we're going to play. Let's see if we can bring up our lead sheet to kind of guide us through it. All right, so then we're going to have pretty much kind of the same thing. All right, so next up we're going to work through the minor part of the progression. All right, so our melody, we have, okay, going up through here. So then we can identify that one kind of key moment. Okay, so we have this note here. That's the third of this F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Go to the B7. Okay, and then we're going to the third of the E minor. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the next moments here. So we have, okay, now we're going to go to the third of the A7, third of the A flat 7, back to the third. So you can see before we had a lot of fifths and ninths, and now we're working with a lot of thirds. Okay, we have the root note of D7 there. Let me get this view back. So just to kind of review a little bit. Okay, the third of the F sharp minor 7. Then we're going to the third of the E minor. Third of the A7, third of the A flat 7, third of A7. Okay, and then we're moving up to the root of D7. Okay, now we're on the second half of the form, so that should all be kind of familiar. All right, now we have the fifth again of the E flat minor 7. Okay, and then we're gonna have the flat 9 of the A flat 7, and then the flat 5 of the D minor 7 flat 5 becomes the flat 9 of the G7, and then the root of the G, so the fifth, becomes the fifth of the C, right? So we want to know how things relate to a chord at a specific moment in time. So so that's essentially transposed or the same relative relationship as the first 4 bars there. Okay, so let's go a bit further here. Okay, so all right, so where are we? So we have okay, so that is going to be the fifth of the C minor. Okay. All right, let's put that C minor over B flat. Okay. A minor 7 flat 5. Okay, the root of G. Okay, so here we have something. And sometimes you get really kind of cool opportunity to explore some harmonies. So we have a D7 flat 9, then we have this B natural here. So that's a pretty cool sound. So we get the D7 flat 9 with 13. Okay, and then we have the G6. Okay, so the main thing is to know different types of chords and how really each note relates to that. But the starting point is to think about, let's say a given chord like G. So to know where, so G major 7, to kind of know where those chord tones are, and not just the shape of the arpeggio, but also just specifically, root 3, 5, 7, root 3, 5, 7, root, and so on like that. So that is a particular goal for us. All right. So then the notes that are often going to come outside of that are, at least for that particular chord, are the root, or not the root, the 9, 11, and 13. So you can kind of go and create some different chord sounds out of those. C is going to be a little bit of kind of a sus sort of sound. All right, so now let's say we're taking some of the other chords. Let's say we have a minor 7, flat 5. So then we want to know the arpeggio, for that. Okay, so root, flat 3, and be able to name them: flat 5, flat 7. Okay, so the difference there between the minor 7 and then the minor 7 flat 5 is that E versus the E flat. All right. So I'll do a little playing around here, and if you have any questions here on the live stream. right. So there's just a couple things there. When you're playing solos too, then we can think about how a chord relates to a melody at a given moment in time as well. So. Okay. So really just trying to work at having that awareness of things as you go through. And, on a, let's say, kind of practical level, when you may go to play concert or some background music somewhere or recital or whatever it is, especially if you haven't rehearsed or worked something with a group, it's good to have a basic outline, not something too complex or something that has a lot of substitutions and chord changes. So those things are they kind of have their place as well, of course. But just kind of on a practical level, to have the have kind of the basic chords and that to kind of work with. All right, so I'll do a little more playing here, and we'll probably call it a day. But thanks for checking this out, and I hope you've enjoyed this talk. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for checking out this talk. I hope you have a great day and a great practice session. I'll see you all in the next one.